Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, and welcome to today's Dux-Soup webinar. I'm Jo Henderson, part of the marketing team here at Dux-Soup, and I'm thrilled to be joined today by digital marketing expert Gaurav Sharma. Thank you, Gaurav. Before I hand over to Gaurav, I just want to remind you all that we won't be on mute, obviously, but you guys will be. But I'm sure you will have lots of questions, so please add these into the question box as they come up, and I will put them to Gaurav at the end of the session. We will also send out a recording of the webinar later today, and this usually comes to you in about 5 or 6 hours time. So keep a lookout for that, and you can share that with your colleagues. So on to Gaurav. Let me introduce you. Gaurav is backed by popular demand, as we've been lucky enough to have him host with us once or twice before. Owner of Attrock Digital Marketing, Gaurav is a recognised growth hacker with over 10 years experience in helping businesses to grow using content marketing. With a track record for boosting sales for SaaS companies and previous clients, which include Hubspot, SemRush and Shane Barker, to name a few, we're thrilled to have Gaurav back to share with us his secret to a successful sales outreach strategy. So Gaurav, it's over to you.
Thank you so much, Jo. This is super exciting to be here again. So today we're gonna talk about like sales outreach and how we can do this and how we can excel and how we can actually generate more leads in 2023 and what we can do something different from 2021 and 2022. So let's get started on this. All right. So today we'll talk about like what is sales outreach, why do we need, how to do it right in a right way, and the top channels you need to use, tools you need to follow, and the best practices. So we'll try to cover it up in next 20-30 minutes. All right. Before this, myself, like Jo mentioned me, as a marketing expert, I work mostly into the marketing areas, sales funnel, conversion rate, SEO, content, email, and growth hacking stuff. Mostly worked with SaaS companies, Fortune 500 companies, e-commerce companies, influencers and startups, and we're trying to like focus mostly on the marketing areas, the organic part, generally inbound leads, outbound leads from SEO, content, email, affiliate, and all those good stuff. So let's start with the outreach stuff. Now, the sales outreach. First of all, this is all about the outbound stuff. You're trying to like reach out to the people. So it's like going to be cold outreach. You're looking for more sales, looking for more leads for your business. So there are two things. There's like one like inbound outreach and there's like outbound. So outbound is more like you're going after the consumers or the users, and you're trying to like pitch your product or the solution that you have. So this is sales outreach. So you're going to contact your customers or the users that you think are the perfect fit, the prospects, and you try to pitch in a different manner so that they can actually like convert with your pitch. So that's about like sales outreach. Now, why it matters? Two things. Like I mentioned, there's like inbound and outbound. So outbound is like cold outreach. Inbound is like warm outreach. Warm outreach is something when somebody's actually reach out to you because of your brand name or your company name or something. They already heard about yours, saw you somewhere on like on social media or maybe on SEO or like from search engine, or they saw you somewhere, or maybe anywhere in the webinars or in the seminars, anywhere else, and they reach out to you that, okay, I've seen you, I want to like work with you, I am looking for this solution, something like this. So that's inbound, and that's mostly because of the branding you have done. But this thing takes a lot of time, and that's the drawback of inbound. So the inbound thing takes a lot of time, efforts, and a lot of money. And whereas the outbound, that's like sales outreach, it takes like a short period of time. So it's like you can reach out to the customers like right tomorrow, and you can get a response rate within like next 3 to like 15 days max. Depends on how strong is your email sequence or message sequences. Sometimes the message sequence goes to like 7 days to 15 days or 21 days. So even the life cycle is kind of like, and the cycle is kind of short. So sales outreach brings faster results, and it's like quicker and like even less amount of efforts plus less amount of money requires compared to outbound. So that's why sales outreach matters a lot for any business, because you cannot just put all your eggs in one basket and looking for just getting traffic from PPC or anywhere else. So you need to focus on different avenues. So sales outreach is one of that avenue that brings a good amount of leads for your business. Now, how to create a winning sales outreach strategy? Now, there are like standard ways. And once you understand these concept or the standardized process, then you can just do this anytime. Like even like in 2024, you can able to like do this in a efficient manner. The one thing is you need to define your audience. When you need to make sure that every single type of audience is actually like in mentioned in a detailed manner. Like you are defining like age group, you're defining the sex, male, female, you're looking for like geographic location, you're defining if your product is actually being able to target like the age group of 18 to 24 as well as like 24 to 30. So you're defining different types of target customers, and with the different types of like you can say ideal customer persona, you can define all those things. And on the basis of that ideal customer persona, you are actually like creating a list of those databases. So define your audience, create a database of each one, segment them. Then most important thing that you need to like define your messaging very efficiently, like in a personalized manner, so that you are actually like taking care of the pain point of your customer as per your like geographic location, as well as your the age group or the gender basis, whatever your product is actually catering to. So if you are tailoring your message in a right way, which means like more personalized, talking about the pain point of the customers, then you can simply reach out to using a right type of tool, then take for customer regular follow-up, like regular basis we'll talk about in the next few slides. Then you will see that conversion starts happening automatically. And these are like very standard process that you need to follow, but none of the process you can skip. You need to follow each and every step, and you need to take care of each and everything. We'll go over this in detail in the next slides. Like I said, define your customer audience, segment them, create a list. And this is a very very important process. That's why I'm like emphasizing this one, because a lot of brands I work with, people take this one like not seriously. They like, okay, fine, we know the clients, we know the customers, it's not important to like define on paper. And because of this, and a lot of the big companies who have like they just who have like a lot of junior people who actually like looking for like database and everything else, they just kind of miss out the type of audience. So you need to define the audience and segment them. Instead of one list, have like multiple list, and have like multiple ideal customer personas. And on the basis of geographic location, and on the basis of like gender, on the basis of age group, and on the basis of if we can define on the basis of customer profile, like if you're talking about like B2B, so you can just go after like is it like CEOs, or maybe the HR of the company can be targeted. So you need to define things and segment those lists. Once you are able to segment those personas and list, it will make things a lot easier when you start like outreaching. Okay, so that's the first step. Now next step is included by creating databases. So the next database is something you can just use different types of tool. For third-party service providers also able to like provide you databases that you can just Google it. Otherwise, you can go off like ZoomInfo, UpLead, and LeadFuse. There are multiple tools as well in the market available that you can provide databases. Plus, you can simply Google and look after like localized data. So somebody's like having business of hyperlocal, or maybe just looking they have a target specific, or just a specific city based or district based. So in that case, they can look after like a local database collector, and maybe they can just Google it and they can find the databases, collect the database, make sure they are verified, they are like genuine. It's so make sure it's verified and genuine. Either it's a phone number or it's a email address. So once you have a database in place, then you need to like make sure that those databases are as per the list you have created in the first step. Once the database is segmented as per the list, now the magic start happening. So was the first two steps are kind of like hard working and takes a lot of time, but once these two steps are like perfectly done, like creating personas and then working on the right database, which is like verified as well as genuine. No any kind of bullshit database you can buy from cheap database provider from like Bangladesh or any cheap countries. Just make sure that database are like verified, and then you can simply start working on the crafting or like drafting the message. So we can have a different channels where we can just try to communicate. So it could be email, it could be phone, it could be LinkedIn, and so we need to understand that how we are going to communicate. So we are going to communicate from different channels. Now let's take an example of email. Making sure that the message is way too clear, understanding the that we need to start with an opening message, then follow up by follow-ups, one follow-up, two follow-up, three follow-ups, four follow-ups. I highly recommend to have go for like 3-4 follow-ups minimum. And when you start creating the communication, the messaging, just make sure that the message on the follow-up is not like, did you see my last message? uh, I don't want to bother you, or I just want to make sure that you have seen my last message. So just make sure that you are able to connect the dots of the previous message and come up with something unique, just not one liner or two liner of something basic follow-up that you can see, or you can Google that, okay, send the follow-up sequence. Or maybe you can use this time is famous like chat GPT. I've used it a couple of times, and chat GPT is something brings up like really nice amount of decent message sequence. So you can use chat GPT and come up with set the follow-up sequences, 3 follow-up sequence, 4 follow-up sequence. That would be easy and like time saver, like super time saver. Just make sure that the message is way strong and clear. Once the step 3 is clear, understand that which channels you are going to go after: email, phone number, LinkedIn, SMS. Once depends on your business. If it's a B2B, go for like email. It's like local or hyper local, go for like phone or SMS. And so more B2B, and so go for LinkedIn as well. B2C, you can go for email, phone, SMS, all the 3 things when you know where your consumers are at and how they actually like communicate. So make sure, and that's is exactly where your first step comes in, the ideal persona. Once you have that thing stable, you are able to understand, okay, my ideal customer use like SMS most of the time. They're like maybe they're like mommies or like kids in the school. They don't do LinkedIn much, they don't use email much, and they're so you can go for like SMS or the phone numbers. So it depends on the type of persona you have. You need to understand which channel I need to use, and that's where the step 1 is very important. Now like I said, follow-ups are like way too important. Even if you are like going after phone or SMS or LinkedIn or email, follow-ups are important, because there's a higher chance that the moment you are actually calling, the guy is kind of busy, not able to answer, is kind of busy, he got stuck somewhere, he got into an emergency or whatever. That doesn't mean that person is not the right fit for your business, or he's not going to buy the solution from you. So continuously take a follow-up. So you can just define the follow-up sequence in a way that opening message, opening email on the first day, you have called the guy on the day 1 and send the SMS on the day 1. Then you can just send a follow-up message on like day 3, day 5, day 9, day 15. So this is a kind of ideal follow-up sequence I have used in the past. But if you think your customer like customer is taking like is kind of very busy person, very lead, a high ticket client, so you can go after like day 21. So day 1, day 5, 9, 15, 21. So this is how you can just define your follow-up sequences. So make sure the follow-up sequence are like automated, goes on time. Plus also to understand that you don't just do it often. Just make sure it's there's a gap in the message in the follow-up sequences. Plus make sure that the message doesn't have like any spam words or any kind of lucrative word or something which might filter you out by the servers. And once the follow-ups are done, then you will definitely start seeing the like more open rate, more reply rates automatically. Because now once you draft the message as well, just make sure a few things like use tools like headline analyzer or subject line analyzer, or you can say email message body analyzer. These kind of tools actually helps you to understand that you're not using any kind of spam words, you're not using any kind of languages that is usually been not supported by the servers. From this way, the deliverability rate will be kind of on a higher side. That's a kind of like easy things you can use, and a good practice. So follow-ups, make sure the message is good, And also the message should not be like too long, not like more than like 200 words or 300 words, like pretty long. Just make sure it's short and crisp. It's like straightforward to the point. uh, just make sure that you're also using a bucket bridges in the message, so that it's not like boring. And if you can craft the message in a storytelling way, that would work really well, because these are like the few pointers that you need to follow while creating the message. And this is the main thing, because if you have the persona ready in a right way, database in a perfect segmented way, and the message as per the pain point of the customers, targeted, personalized. Now you're doing the follow-up sequence in a right way, like 1 3 5 9 15, taking care of that using the analyzers tools, using chat gpt. Like all these like steps, if you follow, like it's guaranteed that you will start seeing results. And most of the brands that I've seen and who complains that, okay, I'm not getting results from outbound, I'm getting like a deliverability rate kind of very very poor, the reply rate is low, open rate is low. So they're like, the message sequence kind of is sometimes very long, poor, and poorly crafted, or the follow-up is not like for just one or two, and the database is not like the perfect. These are things that you need to follow. One thing I like to mention regarding the deliverability rate, just make sure that the server of your website has like SPF, DKIM, DMARC perfectly done. So these are like three parameters that you need to use, and this is something handled by the DevOps guy or the your server guy. So just make sure that technically your server is perfectly managed or fixed in terms of sending the emails, so that there's no filter, the server filter will like automatically send you in the spam. So it's like SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. So yeah, there are three things that you need to use, and you can just maybe write it down, and the DevOps guy will understand. This is kind of very technical, so just use these three names, and that will be good enough. And from this, you will start seeing the like results coming in. You'll start seeing that people are responding to your message, like I'm interested, tell me more and all. So you will see more reply rate and open rates. And once you do this, connect your system, like whatever the tools you're using for outreach, connect the system with this with your CRM, so that you can get that all the leads data in the CRM. And now you can scale things up, because a lot of brands who are not able to scale, this is another factor, that they just don't understand that which things they need to do next. Once you start getting responses, connect to the CRM, you will see the response there. And once you grow, you have like 2 3 juniors down to you. They will like look into the CRM, they will respond to the messages, email, SMS, and you can keep a watch, and that's how you can start growing. Now you can have like 3 people in your team, 4 and 5, and you'll start getting more leads, and things just multiply from there. So these are the 6 steps that you need to follow. And now looking for like how to use email for sales outreach. Like I mentioned, we'll go in more details about each and every areas. So for the sales outreach, use more tools like specifically like Mailchimp, OmniSend, SendBlue, and Mailshaker. So they're like good tools that you can use to like sending out the email. So the other email service providers, ESPs. So they are like great tools that can actually help you in automate all these things, because you cannot just do this manually. One thing I like to mention, because that's my experience, is once you do this the whole thing manually, which works fine, but what happens is the deliverability rate or the open rate, what I've seen personally, is on always on a higher side when you do this manually. But when you do this via tools, the deliverability rate is kind of like if I'm getting deliverability rate by like 25% or 30%, and from the manual email outreach into the inbox, not the spam, into the inbox, uh, from the tools might get like 10 to 15%. But what you need to do is, there's one thing you need to use is warm up your inboxes. So there are multiple tools that you can use, that warmupinbox.com, and the multiple tools that's coming up as well. I think OmniSend also providing that feature now. You can warm up your inboxes, so that Google or the Outlook or Yahoo server, they're able to understand that this server or the email coming from this website xyz.com is kind of like valuable. It's trustworthy, and a lot of people actually like marking it as a starred messages, or like all the messages going to inboxes. So if you do all this thing, you will see more results, like more open rate, reply rate, and more deliverabilities in the inboxes, not the category sections. So use this tool, because otherwise manually cannot scale. You need to use tools so that you can scale and multiply and get more results. And you can also do one thing, like when you draft message, you can just use cheat sheet, checklist, ebook, just to lure the like interest of your customer, so that you can, maybe you can have provide some kind of ebook in the first opening message, and in the follow-up you start pitching your services. And this is how people like open your email, they like interest, okay, this is interesting, and they've got a free checklist. Now they are, you can ask that, okay, I understand checklist work kind of like too much for you, maybe this is something we can do and help you out. So they know, you know what work needs to be done, how it needs to be done, and they might not have enough time, so they will ask you to, okay, let's jump on a call, and now from there you can pitch hard and close the deal. And that's how like you can start the like email stuff in the outreach. Make sure that's like I said, keep it short, catchy, talk about the solutions, talk about the pain points, all these things. Make sure the CT is in the message, uh, refer by their name, personalize it. All these things needs to be there in the email, which is very, very important. And make sure that you just don't copy from the template from the Google. Use ChatGPT, it's pretty good. Means I'm repeating it over and over because I've used it like from last 2 months, and it's doing great, really great, and takes save a lot of time. Now, uh, one good example that HubSpot has been using in the message. HubSpot is a big company, CRM based. Uh, Personalize it, provide knowledge, mention about the challenges and the offerings, provide proof of the performance via case studies, and with the CTA, ask if somebody else is the right person to talk to or whatever. So this is a great way you can use to outreach, and that's the email they have used. And it's a kind of a template email you can use as well for your business if it's B2B. So just if also like if you're confused by anything, just go after your competitors, subscribe to their email address, and look after what kind of email they are actually sending out, or maybe the best of the competitor in your industry. Go to their website, subscribe, and check out what type of email sequence they are sending, and then improvise it. That's also like a easy hack you can use to like improvise and come up with a great email sequence. Now followed by like how to do cold calling right. Now, like I said, most of the time the cold outreach, or you can just cold calling, or the SMS works in the same way. Now what you need to do is simply make sure that you are understanding your customer first, and that's what your the executive guy or the customer support team or whatever person who is going to talk to, make sure he understands the pain point of your customer. And whenever he like picks up the call, he is able to like talk about the pain point, and it's not like they are bothering the person. Make sure that he asks the person that if it's the right time to talk to. If somebody's like not available, respect it, and just take a follow-up after like 3 days or 5 days, and just give another call. Make sure that understanding your customer, that what time of availability the person has. So just taking example, like I said, in the customer performer, let's take example that your target audience is mommies, and your product selling to your kids. So the decision maker is like mothers and the father, right? And father is kind of busy, so sometime for the kids, mother takes a responsibility and take the decisions. So understand that when usually mommies are like available for the free, like it's kind of like afternoon time, before lunch, or like post lunch, those kind of time period then you define, and only then you need to give a call, so that the person is able to answer your call and kind of free as well, so that they can actually respond to you. And that's exactly the same thing you need to do on the email as well as for the SMS. Make sure you understand when the customer is ideally free or available. Sometimes it's like B2B, for example. You should not just send SMS or email over the weekends. You should not. You can send this email or the SMS or LinkedIn message during the you can say like by Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, those are like idle period, and even on the like morning hours, not like evening hours. So those things you need to like focus on when you do the cold calling, right? Understand the pain point. That's the most important thing. Now, regarding the how to use text to SMS marketing and convert, make sure it's very like short and sweet to the pain point, because there is no enough space when you do the SMS. So just make sure like you can talking about the pain point, or maybe you can divide your message in the follow-up sequence and talk about the pain point first, and look after something like give a checklist with a link, and maybe in the third or fourth follow-up you can come up with your pitch. So that's another a good way where the person is going to like open and maybe respond to you, and able to like see you and look after your message. Okay, this guy actually helping me for with sending me checklist or something valuable that I'm looking. Now when you start sending your pitch, it will work for you. Now how you can use social media. In the social media you can use Dux-Soup or the LinkedIn to convert and like reach out the right person, because LinkedIn is a great platform for B2B to grow, contact, touch the like CEOs, CMOs, CTOs of the companies, decision makers. They are always there, active, kind of like connecting, they're increasing the network. So LinkedIn is still growing, and in like when you do the LinkedIn stuff manually, because I've done this in the past, it's like a total nightmare, because you have to like contact each and every person manually, go to each profile, it page loads, it frustrates you, and you just do over and over and over. So it takes a lot of time. So if you just do the whole thing in like on an automated manner, Dux-Soup is a way to go. Means I've used this tool multiple times and I'm like huge fan. So automate LinkedIn, sales outreach, contact the prospects, interaction, engagement. You can shorten your sales cycle, because if you do this manually, it will take time, and sometimes you will miss out as well because of some family reasons or whatever something comes up. Uh, Increase the visibility. They have multiple features that I love to use. That is like you can view the profiles automatically. Yeah, Plex will go to each and every profile of your list, and so that person will know that okay, this guy is checking me out like on a regular basis, because this is something people do check. Okay, that people who view your profile, and now we can if you just interact with that profile once in a while, and then the message comes to that inbox, then there's a higher chance that person is going to respond, because that will look a lot natural for the person. And this is very important, because me being CEO in the agency, although we have a small team, but still I receive like hundreds of messages from brands, and I respond to only those messages when I know that person is actually genuine and actually like trying to like help me with their solution. They're actually checking me out, checking my profile, like connecting with my messages, and like talking about my pain points specifically, and then come up with a perfect solution for me. So that's exactly you can do, and that's how you can simply use Dux-Soup, find, interact with your relevant prospects, automate your messages, then organize all the message, capture leads, and then it will be all good. And same thing, I've used the Dux-Soup in the past, and I've seen like 10% of qualified leads of the like 30 to 100 leads that I've signed. Out of this, like 300 new leads I've acquired in just 40 minutes of time, 40 hours of time. So this is something you guys can do, and this is a very small case study that I'm sharing, but you can just, if you just able to multiply with a small like 3 months or 6 months period of time, you can multiply these numbers very easily, because automating this thing helps a lot. Plus the organized structure of Dux-Soup is crazy. It's like super awesome. Now moving to the next, how to choose the right channel. Now, like I said, understand your goal, understand your preference, your prospect, understand the urgency, how fast you need, understanding that where your prospect is, your where customer lies, understanding like whether it's your mommy is your customers or is like as CEOs, or understanding that if like the kids or like college students, who are your perfect customers and where they are at, and understanding that if you're looking for like, if you don't have any other channel that sales outreach, the only channel is you have, then you understand that, okay, I need to go for SMS, email, calling, or whatever. Just make sure you choose the right channel, understanding the right personas. Now, the tools you can use for the CRM, Salesforce, Zendesk, they're good. Email marketing platform, Omnisend, Mailchimp. For automation, Dux-Soup, the only tool I like to recommend here. And the best practices now, just make sure you're like conducting thorough research in the target customers. Opt for like multi-channel sales outreach, which means like you also like reach out to the customer from SMS, from calling, as well as from LinkedIn. And if you're using multiple channels, that's like 360 360 marketing that you can use multiple channels, so that you're targeting the person from different angles. And if the person miss out the email, they might respond to your SMS or maybe respond to your LinkedIn message. Make sure the message is very well crafted and take regular follow-up. These are like best practice I would recommend. Key takeaway from this: follow the 6-step guideline that I've mentioned in the beginning. Invest in the good CRM, manage the database, use multi-channel approach, and use automation. That's all I will mention. But yeah, once again, follow-ups and the perfect message sequence is very important. These are all about the sales outreach strategy that you can use in 2023. Here, just again, make sure that the six step guidelines that you have mentioned has been followed in the right way. You will see results. I can vouch on this. Thank you so much for listening. Now back to Joe.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. Right, we have a few questions. Let me just find them. So the first one, what are the 3 parameters that you mentioned for your email server?
Yeah, it's a SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. So these are the technical parameter that DevOps guy or the web developer guy understands. So you can just use these 3 names and they will fix it. They'll fix it.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you. Next question. Can you mention again the tools you would recommend to analyze your follow-up messages to minimize the risk of a message being identified as spam?
Yeah, on my website as well, I've created these tools: headline analyzer, email subject line analyzer, and email body analyzer. That's are available on my website attrock.com. So they can scroll to resource section and they can see all the tools mentioned there. And other than that, headline analyzer or subject line analyzer by Omnisend is also good.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Now then, what CRM do you use, or what would you recommend for others to use?
Can you repeat, Joe? Sorry, I missed the word.
Yeah, what CRM do you currently use?
I use Hubspot.
You use HubSpot. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, but if somebody has like a budget, they can go for Nimble. That's also a good one, or Pipedrive. These are like 2 good ones.
Okay, that's great. Now, Pipedrive and HubSpot, obviously, Dux-Soup have an integration, a direct integration with, so we can send the link out to those pages later on too. Another question here, in step 5 that you mentioned earlier in your slides, when you mentioned follow-ups, would you recommend using the same follow-up method or mix it up? So would you use all emails or all calls, or would you mix it between the 2?
Can you repeat? I didn't get it. Sorry.
Yeah, in your email, in your slide where you've mentioned step 5 around follow-up calls or follow-up messages, you've said 2 to 4 follow-ups between day 1 and 15. Would you suggest using the same method for following up? So would you use all emails, or would you use all calls, or would you use both, a bit of both?
Yeah, I would say both, because multi-channel approach is kind of very important, because you need to understand your customers are kind of always busy most of the time, and they may not respond on the call or maybe on the email. So use follow-up on the email as well as on the phone, as well on the SMS. That will help. Just make sure the dots are well connected as well. So if you are like using multi-channel approach, so make sure that the dots are connected, so that person will not get pissed off by anything, and they are able to connect the dots. Okay, this company is like sending me email as well. Now this company is calling me as well, and we are talking about the same product. So if there's a chance that you have like 3 products in your company or 3 services you're providing, and you are like sending the first service by email, second service by SMS, or third service by phone, that won't work. Just make sure you're sending same service pitching from the SMS, email, or phone all at the same time. Like, make sure the dots are connected and the person will not be like pissed off by anything.
Okay.
I hope that answers the question.
It does, thank you. Another question here: which reply rates and close rates do you see from campaigns? I don't know if that's
Okay.
something. Sure.
Okay, so reply rate and open rate totally depends on the type of database you have right now. But usually, if you use Mailchimp or ActiveCampaign or any other tools, they actually provide you industry-based open rates. So those are like good to go, because I won't be able to say that which would be the perfect reply rate for your industry, because it totally depends on how the industry works and how the industry works for the email servicing. So I would say that use Mailchimp or ActiveCampaign or Mailshake or those kind of tools. They actually provide you the industry open rates and reply rate, and from there you can set a benchmark that my open rate should increase by, like, if industry open rate is something like 30%, so your message sequence should go in a way. If you follow all these steps, you should see that the open rate is more than like 40% or 50%, and that's how you can like set a benchmark and move forward.
Okay, that's really helpful, thank you. Someone here has asked, what tool do you use for SMS?
Regarding SMS, I would like to because that's something we usually don't do much for the SMS part. So I don't have anything like in hand, like something I would say right now. So.
Can you create a list from LinkedIn and then use Dux-Soup to reach only the people in your list? Well, even I can answer that one. Yes, you can. Actually, if you join our next webinar, I think that's something that Giles will be picking up on. But I think what we want to be looking at there, and Giles, you can help me, is looking at tagging.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of ways to do that. So what was the question again? Can you create a list from LinkedIn and then use only Dux-Soup? Yeah, so you can create custom lists with Dux-Soup. You can create a CSV file with out of LinkedIn, create your own custom list, or indeed save your profile, your prospects to a lead list, for example, in Sales Navigator. There's a number of different ways of doing it. We've covered that on some of our webinars before, but yeah, I'll touch on that in 2 weeks' time. No problems.
Perfect, thank you. What else have we got? I didn't catch that. Will you put it in writing? Yes, I'm sure it will come your way. Do you suggest to send email follow-ups in thread to previous emails or as a new email with a subject line?
Okay, that's a great question. Yes, I would say go in the same thread. And what you can do is, what I've done in the past is, for the 4 sequences, the 4 follow-ups goes in the same thread, and then still I'm not able to like see any kind of like open rate or reply rate, or what happens is, like, they're like tracking methods you can use in the ESPs. You will see that somebody has view the email but not responding. So what you can do is, you can just send the 5th email. You can say come up with a 5th message that you can come up with a different subject line. That's a total different thread. So 4
Okay.
sequences goes in the same thread. The 5th message will go in the another thread with a different subject line. You might see some kind of response from there that I've seen in the past. So that could be a good one.
Yeah, I think that's a good tactic. Okay, that's great. I think that's all the questions we have. And I think from my perspective, I actually found your cold calling statistics really interesting, because it's not something that I immediately think of doing when I talk about outreach. I think, some people enjoy cold calling and some people don't, and I'm one of those people that doesn't. But I found it really intriguing. I think, was it 78% it said on there in terms of positive follow-up from cold calling. So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's why like insurance companies and all those companies likely do cold calling over and over.
Yeah, really interesting.
They do convert.
So before we go then, if I can say thank you to Gaurav. And if I can just get this to come off my screen. If you could go on to the next slide, please.
Yes.
If we want to be, so we're talking about these, we want everyone to have one. So to be in with the best opportunity, look, and even Gaurav's got one, of getting hold of one of our Dux-Soup caps, we'd really like you to put a review. Not just of the website and not just of the webinar, but of Dux-Soup and how you use it and what you use it for, and what it's good for. And if you go into G2, then you can leave us a review there. And if you put today's date in, then we'll know it's because you've seen the webinar, and the ones that we like the most, we'll send some caps to. And we'll get in touch to get your contact details. And the next slide then I think is for Giles to talk about our next webinar, getting started with Dux-Soup.
Yeah, thanks, Joe, and also thanks to Gaurav for his insights today. It's really good to hear. I know quite a lot of the discussions on the questions there were around, combined approaches, not just thinking about LinkedIn, but also thinking about, the email, SMS, etc., etc. So that's becoming more and more normal that we're seeing combined and coordinated approaches across these different platforms. 2 weeks time today. So from 2 weeks today, we're going to be covering, getting started. So I'm going to be doing a demoing a fresh install of Dux-Soup, walking through exactly the experience you will get as you install it, and then you decide on what options you want to select. Going through some of the highlights, and also just explaining a little bit around the new simplified UI. We've simplified things a little bit to make it a little bit more accessible for people, because we also understand we're trying listening to our users and making sure that we're trying to make it as straightforward as possible for the people who want to use it from a high level. Of course, all those options that are still there in the background, and you can still access them. But what we're trying to do is simplify, make it more accessible for people. So that's something that I'll be covering in 2 weeks' time. So yeah, do register. It's on the website now, and hopefully speak to you all then.
Thank you. Thanks, Gaurav. Take care.
Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you so much, Giles. Thanks for having me.
Bye, everyone.